Hey, Trey. Was it the funny one that I laughed at, Cher? Or is it a new one? Hi, Shannon. Oh my God, Lindsay. What a disaster. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Miss Christy. Hey, Kim. There's Kim. Hi, Dottie. Hi, Jen. All right. Hi, Jess. Oh, Joanna, hello. Well, first and foremost, Joanna, I would just like to let you know that I'm usually not this mellow. I'm usually much more energetic and exciting. I just came back from a weekend mental retreat, and like I said earlier, it was good until it wasn't. And I'll probably have to do it again. I'm slightly annoyed about it. But here we are. The good news is I liked the therapist. He was great. And we're going to continue seeing him and talking to him because he was good at what he did. So that's the good news in all of this. Marissa, after tonight, is actually being removed tomorrow. Hi, Mare. Hi, Angel. Hey, Cheryl. Oh my God, Kim, I'll have to send it along. Hi, Donna. Hey, Jordan. Oh, good. I hope you enjoyed your mini getaway. Oh, Jennifer. Hey, honey. Hi, Christina. Hi, Deanna. Hey, Michelle. You know, it's just like one of those things. You know what, Mare? I know it's you. I can't see your name, but I know it's you. Mary, do not apologize. We all have our days. And I know you good enough to know that you were not doing it to be hurtful or to attack me or to attack anybody. And I think the majority of people here know that. So please do not feel like you have to apologize, although your apology is accepted. And I apologize if I came across a certain way, which is why I had said, I want you to know I'm not trying to be a jerk. But please don't feel like you have to apologize. Oh my God, Heather, I told Miss Christy that literally. I was like, she said you were flirting with a group of guys. And I was like, she's kind of taken. But tips. Get those tips, honey. So yeah, exactly, Katie. That's why I'm like, at the very least, I was texting Rebecca about it kind of today, about my feelings and my struggles and how she can unfortunately relate. And it's like some things that were taken from it were great. And then other things that I wouldn't say weren't taken from it, other things that appeared and happened sucked. So like I said, I always try to find the silver lining. And the silver lining for me this time is just that I found somebody I liked, that I feel like I connected with. And I know y'all always tell me it's okay to fire your therapist. But the problem is here in Myrtle Beach, there are no therapists. So if we fired our therapist, we would have nobody. But now we do. And that's great. And he knows us and he thinks highly of us. And he said, we are what did he say? We are the most unique and interesting couple that he's met in the 43 years he has been doing this in a good way, which is nice to hear. Hi, Kim. All right. Oh, Jennifer, it's okay. I hear you. I'm here with you, and I'm sending you tons of prayers, my love. Hi, Therese. Okay, guys, so silver lining. Sabrina, you need to stop being a hot Barbie babe, okay? I'm like, if you hear me taking deep breaths, it's just because, I'm trying to chillax, I'm trying to get the inner zen. He taught me a breathing technique today. Hi, Ash. However, the breathing technique requires me to be pretty calm. And typically when I need to use this breathing technique, I am far past breathing. So like I can't practice it until he explained it on a scale of 10, okay? And he said, what do you feel daily? And I said, about a 7 or 8, like of anxiety level. And obviously today I was feeling a 10. And he said he would ideally like to get me down to a 5 so that when something happens or something comes up or whatever, I go to like a 6 or a 7 so that I can still breathe and use those techniques to lower me even further, right? And then eventually get me to like a 2 or 3, which is 1 or 2 is normal, right? We all deal with daily stressors and yada, yada. You can do 1 more, yeah. So like a 2 or 3 is good. And then when you get stressed, you go to the 5 and then you practice these breathing techniques and you bring yourself back down to like that 3. But the problem is he calls it, it's a thing, what is it? The Gottman or whatever. And it's like called flooded. You feel flooded, which is basically you've reached your point. That's good. You've reached your point and you're past your point, right? There's nowhere else to go. So when you feel flooded, it kind of almost feels like there's no return, right? There's nowhere to go. So the goal is to obviously get me lower. Now he's anti-medication like I am, not because I don't believe in medication, not because I don't believe in modern science. Clearly I do. But because that's not something I want for myself. He said he could give me something, but he was like, all it's going to do is do the same thing that my breathing technique will do. Like, so if I'm feeling anxiety, I would pop a pill and then, you know, the anxiety would go down. But he said it's nothing that he hasn't seen his breathing technique fix. So again, we need to get me out of being flooded and a little bit lower so that way I can practice those breathing techniques so I can avoid having to be medicated. And again, there is nothing against being medicated. I know a ton of people who are medicated. It's just something that I want to use as a complete, absolute last-ditch effort and know that I have tried everything else until I had to get to that point. You know? Sorry, Matt's making cupcakes. I'm really excited about it. I don't know, I've been craving like sweets, so I drank a Frappuccino on the way home, double chocolatey chip. You know what I'm talking about. And we didn't have dinner, but for whatever reason, cupcakes spoke to me. So I was like, can we get some cupcakes here? Yes, Lindsay, exactly. I think that's what was good for both of us, really, is Lindsay said that he gave us manageable goals.
Yes, he sure did.
And he did, and that was important because it's not a guessing game of what do we do. We have our lists of things we need to be doing, we need to be working on, we need to be practicing so that when we see him the next time or speak to him the next time, we can update on that progress. And he said, I don't expect it to happen overnight. The next time you could have the same update. Well, we're working towards it, or we're trying this, or we're trying that, or this didn't work, or whatever. We readjust until we get to the point where that is like second nature, right? Then we get a new set of manageable goals so that eventually, you know what I mean? Like the goals start getting smaller and smaller and smaller because we're meeting so many like milestones, you know what I mean? And then eventually it's like, great, we're good. There might be a hiccup in the road. However, Pam is at a 2-3. When there is a hiccup in the road, I get to a 5. I'm not a 7-8 when there's a hiccup in the road. I'm at a 10 where I can't function. But it takes time. So those manageable goals are important. Like I said, like it sucked, but it didn't. It was great until it wasn't, right? I mean, isn't that with everything in life? So, you know what I mean? That's like, the manageable goals was really nice. Matt is a very visual person too. So to have it like kind of mapped out was really helpful for him, to have it mapped out, to like actually visually see it. For me, I have, you know, my Rolodex in my brain. If you tell me something, that's on my Rolodex and it's going to stay in the front of the Rolodex card until I meet that goal, right? For Matt, he needs to see it. Beck, I love you. So, I do know, Amanda, from my previous studies that medication takes a decent amount of time to work, and you might need to try different medications. You might need a combo of medications. Like, I remember when I did my studies, it took generally 3 to 4 weeks for it to even have some sort of effect on you, whether it be good or bad. And then that's when you speak to the doctor and tell them, well, I'm feeling X, Y, and Z, and your doctor would know whether they should stop you, whether they need to add something in a combo, whether you know what I mean? So it's like, I know it takes a while, unfortunately, but our brains are funny things, And the good news is the things that we need to work on, they are tangible things that are actually possible so long as we both put the work in. It's not some outlandish, crazy shit that like will never happen.
Right.
And right now it might feel like it might never happen, but my logical side of my brain is like, that is absolutely an attainable goal. Not right now, maybe not in a month or two, but like eventually that is an attainable goal. Not in 5 years, obviously, but like with a lot of work, there are attainable goals within our little, the plan, I guess, the master plan. So that helps me because when there's nothing written on the board, that's not helpful, right? When there's no plan, that's not helpful. But when there's too much written on the board, it's overwhelming and you feel like it's not possible. But when there's a small step and you don't have to worry about the next step until you're done with that small step, you can focus on the small step. And then you graduate from the small step and you're like, yay, go me. And then you have to go to the next step, which again. So it's like, I like that. I would definitely talk to your doctor if you're concerned about it, Amanda. I'm sorry you're feeling like that. Oh my God, same, Ashley. Literally, the world is burning around me all the time. She said, I have the worst anxiety. I think the worst is about to happen. That's me all the time. That, and when you get to the point where you can't handle it anymore, that's what our therapist calls being flooded. And I feel flooded all the time. And when I get to the point where I'm above flooded, which is somewhere that, no one wants to be, that was me 2 weeks ago when I literally couldn't even click the button to go live, where I couldn't function, where I wasn't even cooking things properly because my brain was it was over flooded. It was like, a hurricane comes, right? And your house is flooded. But then like that one last wave comes in and takes your whole fucking house and drifts it down the river. That was me 2 weeks ago. I was the house drifting down the river. You know what I mean? So, it was good until it wasn't. Hopefully it's good again. I found a silver lining, so that's positive because 2 weeks ago there was no silver lining for me. So, all right.
Especially when our first original person wasn't really
Yeah, we liked our first original person. They were nice.
nice.
It was just, well, how does that make you feel? Great. How does that make you feel? How do we fix this? I don't know. That's why I'm coming to you. I have no idea. That's why I'm here. And it wasn't necessarily helpful to leave having no idea what to do. Mm-hmm. So this way, what does that say?
It's pretty good.
Oh, this way I have a plan. So my logical side of my brain says, great, there's a plan. We will enact the plan. If someone deviates from the plan, my brain understands there was a plan. Pam didn't do the plan. Matt didn't do the plan. Whoever didn't do the fucking plan. Are there reasons why the plan wasn't done? By one, by both, by whatever. And I can logically break that down. But when there's no plan, ain't nobody know what to do. And my brain is all over the place because it's thinking, well, I'm trying this and he might be trying that. And And nobody knows because there was no plan. So the plan was great for me. I need a plan. I thrive off of lists and to-do tasks and having a reason to be doing something, right? And knowing that I have a goal to work towards. I thrive off of that. So having a plan saying you need to do X, Y, and Z, Pam, or gives me, okay, Pam, do X, Y, and Z, right? But when I don't have a plan, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's like when you're communicating with somebody, right? Like if you want them to stop doing it, you need to tell them to stop doing it. If they don't stop doing it, it's because they don't read your fucking mind. They don't have a plan. You did not ask them to enact a plan or have the goal to no longer do whatever it might be, right? That was me 2 weeks ago. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what the hell was happening. My mind was in 500 different places. Now I have a plan. So hopefully everyone involved in said plan will do their part. So then that way I don't have to go floating down the fucking river again, because that was not fun. And it was scary. It was not a good place to be. And I appreciate all of your love and hugs and support. My therapist, he also thinks it's hilarious that I can talk to you all online easily. But when I'm face to face with somebody, I can't even look at them. Christy knows I don't hug. I typically don't look in people's eyes. I'm usually like, looking in the distance or past them. I'm just weird. And he's like, but you can talk to all these people online. I'm like, yeah, because there's nobody in my face. That's why. Because I'm awkward as fuck. I'm an introvert. Thank you, guys. I love a good plan, guys. I love a good plan. Also, you want the tea? Because I know a lot of y'all asked questions about my picture that I dropped earlier today. And I never answered because, well, I was in therapy. However, does anybody know what picture I am talking about from earlier today that I posted that y'all had questions about? Because it was cute. I have a shit ton of batter, and I hope you don't judge me for eating it. This is one of my coping skills. The puppy. Yeah. How about the puppy? Let me tell you how. These children was a beautiful beauty queen woman, a literal beauty queen. Abusers come in all shapes, forms, sizes, ages, and genders. So it doesn't matter what bathroom you are in. It did, Kathy. It was definitely heartbreaking. It was very hard for me to watch. And you know me, I am not a receptive person to somebody hugging me or holding my hand or putting their hand on my leg. That's not how I roll. It's not, and that's part of me going to therapy because of my previous traumas. I'm not an affectionate person. I do not take affection from somebody else ever. So it got to a point, though, where it was so difficult for me to watch that Matt saw me really struggling, and he reached his arm over to put his arm on my leg, and I accepted it, and I just squeezed his arm for a large portion of the movie to get me to the point where I'm willing to accept somebody else's affection. It was hard to watch. It was definitely hard to watch. but necessary to watch.
Sure.
I'm just thankful that it wasn't for me that it was. I mean, it sucks that, what happened to me, but it was like, I didn't have that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's like, 900 times as worse. Yeah. Oh, Brianna, that's good.
Yeah, well, I do. We did too.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that. I think
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah, every year we have to take it.
Just make sure the kids are a little older, Sherry. I didn't think it was appropriate for MJ or Grayson because I feel like there were very, very scary parts for even us as adults.
We went to see it.
We went to see it to make sure
Yeah.
that it was appropriate for them because I think it is PG.
Yeah.
And it stops before obviously
Anything
they do anything. However, it's still a very difficult, traumatic, real watch. The things you see, you think they can really happen because they did happen.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like it would do more harm than good for our children to go and see it. But your older kids, I feel like 13, 14, 15, again, a hard watch. They will probably cry and get emotional. However, it's a necessary watch. It is a great way to segue into the conversation of human trafficking with your teenager. It is a great way to educate yourself about human trafficking, even if you aren't,
Eye-opening.
It's eye-opening. It's called The Sound of Freedom. It's out in the movies. It took them 5 years to get it released because no one wanted it out there, because no one wants to start the conversation, because it's a lot of the people who are higher up in this world that are unfortunately trafficking these children and making money off of them and abusing them. So they didn't want it to come out, but it did. And now I feel compelled to tell everybody to go and see it because it'll start the conversation, and the more conversations that are had, it's like what is that? The Me Too movement.
Yeah.
One person took one person, and look at all of the people who spoke up and started the conversation. Does it still happen? Yes. But guess what? There are people who were going to and didn't because they're second guessing it.
Yep.
It's like bullying, right? If you see something, you say something. Don't do that. Not cool. Knock it off. If other people see that, one, they're going to feel empowered to do the same.
Right.
And two, the bully will likely think twice, or another bully will think twice before doing it because they don't want to be called out like that. It's not comfortable for them. It's about starting the conversation. And we all, during COVID, got so good at keeping to ourselves and not having the conversation and not talking to others. We need to change that. We need to change this. We need to flip the fucking script is what we need to do. And this movie is a good start to it. Okay. I wholeheartedly agree, Anita. I think that there needs to be in school at least once a year from like middle school forwards, like I'd say probably like 7th grade, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, discussions about human trafficking, about the dangers of the internet. I think that, and I don't know, maybe they do have those discussions now. Again, my kids are not in public school, so I wouldn't know. But I think the discussion needs to be had, and it needs to like really just be in there. Snapchat, scary place.
Yeah.
TikTok, scary place. Want to know why? They have all these challenges and shit. Most of us don't know what their kids are doing on the internet. And then you have all these kids dying. If you just have the conversation, could it still happen? Yes.
Right.
Is it likely to happen? Probably not, because you already told them. and I'm going to go off on a little tangent here, and this, some of y'all might be like, well, fuck you, you're not perfect, because I already know that. However, we as parents in this generation need to get our fucking shit together. Parents are called parents for a reason. We are supposed to parent. And I had this conversation with Matt. We unfortunately, in our time, our parents parented a very different way.
Yeah.
We learned from that, and our generation is trying to do better, right? However, I think our generation grew up with a lot of physical abuse, and now they think I feel like some people feel that any kind of discipline is not healthy. Mm-hmm. We are parents. We are teaching them wrong from right. They're not supposed to figure out natural consequences. They shouldn't be standing on couches debating what to do. They're in danger. It is your job to teach them and say, I don't care if you want to say it in fucking baby words or if you want to yell it from across the room. The point is, you say, this is not safe. We don't climb on the back of the couches because you can get hurt. Mm-hmm. Period. I get that there are going to be natural consequences, but we need to do better because these kids that are growing up in the world with our children need to know better, and they need to have some sort of guidance. That is what we're here put on this earth to do, is to guide them. And you can still be their parent and their best friend all at the same time. You don't have to be their best friend all the time. They will still love you. However, being their parent, we know now, our generation, that we don't smack the crap out of our kids, right? We learned from our parents' mistakes. They did what they needed. They did what they thought was right at the time. Just like we're doing what we think is right at this time, learning from, our parents' mistakes or whatever, or even the great things. We take some great things from them as well. But the point is, we as parents need to do better. We need to be more involved in our children's lives. We need to be more hands-on in our children's lives. And we need to not be scared to have tough conversations with our kids because we think it's going to piss them off. I piss my kids off every day, and guess what? Mm-hmm. They love the fucking shit out of me.
I pissed them off as soon as we got home.
It's like, I just feel like the whole point of being a parent is to parent.
Yeah.
And I get it. We're all going to have different styles, which is why I said I don't care if you're yelling from across the room or if you are saying it like Miss Rachel on fucking TikTok, like gentle as gentle can be, like a little tiny chick with a sweet voice. I don't really care. The point is, just say something.
Yeah.
And again, it carries on into them getting older and talking to them and having these hard discussions and paying attention to your kids and making sure that they're not making these potentially life-threatening choices and calling them natural consequences. I don't want the natural consequence of my child's life to be them dying because I didn't speak up, because I wanted to be their bestie. Nope, that's not the life for me. And it shouldn't be the life for anybody else. So I'm like, I just feel like parenting is very difficult these days, and we all walk a thin line, but there is definitely a way to do it. And it's funny because our therapist had said something to me about our parenting.
Yeah.
And how it was very different than what he typically hears. But he said that he admires it. Mm-hmm. Because of exactly that. We kind of tie in a little bit of everything. And like I said, I am not perfect. I raise my voice way more than I wish I did.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, we're doing our best. But at the very least, at least we can say we're parenting them. Mm-hmm. and I'm still their besties. So I'm winning. I'm winning because I'll tell you what, if any of y'all who are here have met my children, you know. You have seen our relationship. They're not scared of us. They don't resent us for having rules.
Right.
And I'm not the because I said so parent. If I tell them not to do something, I'm going to have a reason why not to do it. Don't run up the stairs. Why? Because you can fall down the stairs. You can get hurt. It will hurt if you bang your shin or your head on the stairs. That's why. That's teaching them consequences. That is the consequence of you running up the stairs. You don't need to do it to find out.
Right.
I will let you know what's going to happen. Don't have sex without a condom. Why? Because then you could potentially create a baby unless you're meaning to do that, correct? That's why. Do we see what we're doing here? They will never have to ask us why.
Right.
Because we always provide the why. And I'll never forget, Matthew had a very life-changing moment when Matt told him and Grayson to stay upstairs. And Matt might have not mentioned the why. He said, just stay upstairs while me and Miss Caitlin are selling live. Him and Grayson decided to come downstairs, run around. Grayson ran into the pole, split his head open, and ended up in the hospital. And MJ said to me a few days later, maybe like the day or two later, I get it. And I said, what? He said, I know you always say that you tell me not to do things or to do things because, and you're not doing it to not be fun. It's to keep me safe. He said, Daddy told us to stay upstairs. And we came downstairs and we ran around and Grayson ended up in the hospital and he said, Daddy told us to stay upstairs so he could hear us and so that he knew we were safe upstairs. That's why. And I said, exactly. We're not doing it just to be a fun killer. We do it because there are alternate reasons, which we typically try to tell them immediately why so they don't even have to ask us. Because, I ask why for everything. Ask my poor therapist. I asked him why probably 100 times today. So, you see where we're going here? The natural consequences, great. I'm glad you want them to learn consequences, but you could just tell them. And then if they still choose to do stupid shit, well, that's not on you.
Yeah.
You did your job. You did what you could. Right? We all teach our kids about wearing condoms, safe sex, yada, yada, right? And then they do it without, and then somebody gets pregnant or they get an STD or something. That's not on you. You educated them about that. That's on them. They made that decision.
Right.
And you can say that when you're sitting down with your kid to have that tough decision, tough conversation. I told you about this. I told you that was a consequence of what happened. What are we going to do? We need to come up with some sort of plan. Whether it be go to the doctor because, you need medication for your STD or, talk to whoever they got pregnant, whatever it may be. But you did your job as the parent to educate them. But if you don't, that's on you, honey. It's no one else's job. It's yours. Yeah, exactly. They forked up. I am dead. My son had the best comeback
I
to
know,
someone.
right?
I'm freaking dead. Seriously. That is what it is. Yeah, exactly. Marissa, I always say to the kids, I am not trying to be, I call it a fun killer. I always say, I am not trying to be a fun killer. I promise you, I don't want to be a fun killer. But the reason I did say no or whatever is because of X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
I don't want to be a fun killer. Shit, I do not want to be a fun killer. So, Like, oh, can we make brownies? No, not right now. It's 8 o'clock. It's time to go to bed. That's why. Because then when you don't sleep, you're either crabby or your
Right.
body is broken. You know, your body gets, what's the word I'm looking for? Worn down.
Yeah.
Your body gets worn down, then you're more susceptible to getting sick, and then you won't perform well during school. And I'll give him the laundry fucking list. He's gonna wish he didn't
Yeah.
fucking ask. But I'll give you the whole laundry list. That's fine. This is why. What?
Not laughing at you.
Oh.
Laundry list.
Oh, Sarah, yes, that's me. I'm literally like, yes, that's me. I want to know why, because I like to see everybody's side. I need to know everybody's side because maybe somebody has a valid point that I just never knew or didn't see. I want to know why. I always ask why. And then sometimes I get a fucking stupid answer and I'm like, okay, thank you. I don't shit on their answer, but I'm like, thank you for that. And then I exit stage left.
I gotta go use your mirror for the good light.
Why? In your nose?
Yeah, it hurts.
Don't. Remember the last time you touched your nose, you got that thing and then you scabbed it? I live by a saying, no question is a dumb question. I'm not comfortable sharing, Anita. Okay. Shall we do some of this stuff? Because I got some deals for you. I'm wheeling and dealing tonight. Let me send out an alert. And then it's going to be quick. It's going to be like the next 15 minutes and that's it. So don't worry. It's not going to last any like crazy long. I will pick a pay winner at the end, obviously.